Okay. Well, hi, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Yes.
So my name's Karen Kravitz. I'm with the Mental Health and Recovery Board of Portage County. Who in here has heard of the Mental Health and Recovery Board of Portage County?
I just learned about it today.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. So I'll just tell you a little bit about what the Mental Health and Recovery Board is. So we're part of the county. We're a government entity. And it's our job to plan, fund, and monitor the mental health and addiction treatment services for all the residents of Portage County. So we do that, we get our funding primarily through local levy dollars. And we do want to thank all the residents of Portage County because our levy did just pass. So we're very grateful for that. So we're able to, about 70% of our budget comes from local levy dollars. So what we do is we take those funds and that pays for the different treatment programs and the different prevention programs that are offered at the different nonprofits in Portage County. Children's Advantage, Coleman Health Services, Family Community Services, Town Hall 2, Access Point, and Hopetown. So those are the different organizations that actually have the counselors and the case managers, the social workers, the psychiatrists that go out there and do the work. So they're the helpers out there to help people work through their problems, and we do a lot of prevention too in the schools, which is really important. So yeah, again, what do? We fund the different 24-hour crisis services, so like the 24-hour helplines that people can call, 24-hour walk-in services, that's Coleman Health right behind UH Portage in Ravenna. There's a 24-hour walk-in services for mental health crises. That's something that the Mental Health and Recovery Board funds. It's a very expensive thing to operate when you're talking about 24-hour services for staff. So that's a big part of our levy funds. Prevention and education in the schools, that's things like suicide prevention programs. We come into the schools with Town Hall 2. They have specialists that can do that. And they teach things like Too Good for Drugs, starting in the kindergarten all the way up through high school. We offer that to all the different schools in Portage County, along with all the different outpatient treatment, recovery housing, residential treatment for people who are struggling with substance abuse, for them to go to live while they're working on their recovery and get counseling, and also learn how to live their lives for when they do get out, and so they can be healthy and happy. So that's just a little bit about what we do. But that's wasn't exactly why you're sitting in this room here today. So let's get to that. Financial stress. So we do know a couple years ago in 2019, we worked with the Portage County Health District on a community health assessment. So we surveyed all the people in Portage County. We sent out a survey, and we were talking to them about and we asked the question, what is causing you stress and anxiety in your life and depression? And the number one answer was job stress. 38% of the people said job stress. The number two was financial stress. So those were, of the adult answers, those were the top two things that people say that they get stressed out, depressed, and have anxiety over. Does that make sense? Does that ring true to you?
Yes.
Yeah. Also on the list was unemployment and not having any money. 12% of the people said that. I mean, what do you think maybe some other things people said were?
Maybe just their social life in general, maybe possibly I don't know, being in a bad crowd, doing bad stuff.
Yeah, that was probably more of the youth.
Well, true.
Yeah, some of our
I was just gonna say family stress.
Family.
Kids.
Yeah, so that's right. So in between financial stress to this unemployment, no money, it was things like marital relationships, family relationships, some kind of conflicts in there. And then, yeah, so, but even so above marital relationships and family relationships was job stress and financial stress. So that's pretty telling, I think. So, all right. So what exactly is financial anxiety? It's worry and guilt over money. Pretty basic, right? Mm-hmm. And, you know, guess what? It's very common. But the main thing, so we probably, I don't know, well, let me ask you guys. Have you ever felt this worry or guilt over money in your life? Who has? Yeah, okay, so that's most of us in the room. I know I have too. But the key is if this feeling overwhelms you for more than 2 weeks, you know, that's when you really need to reach out to somebody, like whether it's your primary care doctor, or if you do have a counselor, or you could call something like 988 to connect to a counselor. And anything when we're talking about depression or anxiety, that's kind of like always the key that we talk about. If something is bothering you for like 2 weeks and it's interrupting your daily activities, like it's causing you to not go to work or not want to go to work, or causing disruption with your friendships. Yes?
I was gonna say, because I notice like when I like get in that state of mind and everything, it's very draining. It drains all the energy out of you, so you just kind of want to stay in bed and sleep. So it's like, that's how stressful it can get. So like you said, it can cause like not going to work, not going out with friends. It just gets to you really bad. So.
Yes, exactly. So if you get like that and it's lasting for, you know, days and days and days, that's when you really know you need to reach out. You know, maybe if it's like a day you're feeling like that, but if you can't shake it, then you know, okay, I gotta somehow make some changes. Okay, so, okay, very good. So now, what are some of the signs? So we're talking about some physical signs here. Trouble concentrating or sleeping, feeling guilty or overwhelmed, maybe about some purchases you've made, sweaty, racing heart, fatigue, tension headaches, muscle tightness, or an upset stomach. So these are all those physical things when you're stressed, feeling a lot of anxiety. Okay, now here are some behavioral signs. So now this is things like you're just going to avoid talking about money. And then now here are some real things that are dangerous as far as, you know, with finances. So somebody then could start overspending and obsessing about money. Risky behavior like gambling or excessive alcohol consumption, and then social problems like having conflicts in their relationships and isolating themselves. So gambling, especially right now, what has changed in these past few years with gambling?
Legalized casino gambling.
Yeah.
Sports betting.
Definitely the sports betting.
Lottery tickets.
Yes.
I have friends that are addicted to those stupid scratch-offs, and I hate scratch-offs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they are very addicting. And I know the sports betting is really lowering the age of, especially for like, you know, young men, really are getting into it now with their phones. Yeah. And, you know, because it's so easy, right? You know?
And then they think, so my boyfriend's like, oh, all I have to do is bet $20, and then if I win, I get $200. But it's like, if you continue to do that for a week and then you don't get anything, it kind of adds up. But He knows better than me, supposedly, so there you go.
Like in a way, like I could think of like neurologically, like I think I learned it from town hall too about like gambling and like how like when you're gambling, betting, etc. It just releases some kind of like something with dopamine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
like it kind of makes them like get that sense of like happiness in that short minutes, and then once it just like comes back to you, you just want to do it again just to get that feeling back.
That's right, exactly. Yep, it's an addiction. There's that high you get that with the, and that makes someone want to do it again and again. Exactly what you said, right? So, and then of course, that can definitely lead to more financial anxiety, and there can be a lot of shame and guilt in that. If somebody is then all of a sudden spending more, and they realize they're down that rabbit hole. So.
I feel like the overspending is like therapy shopping, or you're just talking to somebody who's not a money manager and doesn't set budgets, or like the credit card option of, oh, I'll pay it later, I'll pay it later.
I think all of those
Lack of impulse control.
All of them, yeah.
All of them. Those were all good examples, for sure. So what are some of the things that can trigger someone's financial anxiety? I think we talked about some of this stuff, but you know, of course, just the basic, okay, there's just not enough money to afford your necessities. You're just not making enough, you know, that's pretty basic right there. There's also some kind of family history and culture that can cause people to have financial anxiety. I know I feel this way. My parents grew up very, very poor, and even though I've finally, you know, at a point in my life where, yeah, I can pay the bills, I don't have any reason to feel financial anxiety or guilt, but I still do every once in a while. I'll still feel like, oh, you know, I don't know if we're gonna have enough money for this, or I'll feel a little guilty if I maybe buy something a little extravagant, even though I can afford it. But there's still that family anxiety that I grew up with. Always just my parents, because they grew up poor. They grew up in the Depression, so they just grew up, you know, well, their parents grew up in the Depression, and so they, you know, like, so it was just that whole generational of never having enough money has always been kind of a fear of theirs, so then it was a fear of mine kind of a thing. So, and then of course there's social expectations. You know, that can cause financial anxiety. Where do you think people can get social expectations from when it comes to money?
Keeping up with the Joneses, watching your neighbors and social media, seeing all the people around you, what you think they have versus what you think you should have.
Right.
I blame TV. Everybody on TV has bling, drives a BMW, Mercedes and stuff, live in these beautiful houses that are immaculate, and it's like, and they all dress to the nines. It's like, yeah, TV's bad.
Yeah, TV.
Yeah.
TV for sure.
Like maybe like stretching on the TV that maybe they think that that's the norm, and maybe that's how they want to become normal, and just like, so they're probably just going to spend money on the stuff that they don't even need.
Mm-hmm.
And then even like when you think of social media and people, when they post stuff, they always post the best of whatever they're doing. So you're not getting like an actual snapshot of like what is real life. You're getting like what was the best moment of this thing. So it's, you know, what people dressed up. So it's not real life, you know.
Exactly, and I think for sure the younger generation, that's what they're facing with nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
When they're seeing that's all they see is everybody's fabulous life on Instagram.
Right.
Was it really fabulous?
Right, exactly.
The internet can tell you can deceive you and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then, you know, and I think you said something about this early on when we started this presentation, that, you know, a lot of people were just not taught financial skills, you know. So, you know, that basic fact there. You know, I think now in some of the high schools, they are teaching that again.
Yeah, it's like with Ravenna schools, they have this, they started a new class, which is a requirement towards graduation for, I think it's called financial literacy. Unfortunately, I am my class doesn't need to take that, but I feel like it should be a should take class, not just for like, for like the sophomores, for the freshmen, it should be like for all of the classes. Because once we get into the outside world, what then?
Right.
What
There
now?
was no financial literacy class when I graduated high school, so
Me
like, they just
neither.
threw us to the wolves.
Right.
You know?
Like I have like the classes I kind of similar to what it's called like a college to create success skills, but that just helps people who want to go to college, not
Right.
people who want to go to the workforce, wants to go into the army. Something like I want to learn something that's can help me, that's useful in the future.
Right, exactly. So hopefully they're starting to do that now again in high schools, and that's what today is about, for people to come and get some skills, because yeah, when you don't learn and then all of a sudden you can find yourself in a situation, a bad financial situation, and then here you are with some financial anxiety. So here are some steps that you know, I found on the internet. And I thought these were all pretty good as far as ways to help if you are feeling some anxiety from finances. The first one here, identify what purchases are truly beneficial to you and plan ahead to savor them. Reflect on one positive financial decision you made each day. Practice simply thinking about your income, spending a minute or two at a time, acknowledging and accepting any thoughts or feelings that may arise. Recognize that money is not your identity. Instead, focus on your strengths and values. And find supportive family members or friends to confide in.
Can I take a picture of this?
Yeah, of course.
I just did, I had to.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, which one makes sense to you?
To reflect on one positive financial decision you made each day.
Kind of like I have to agree with that, because like for example, like today I was thinking about, before I come here I was thinking about going to McDonald's and getting me breakfast there, but like I didn't, and I'm kind of glad.
Yeah, good. All right.
I like number one, identify what purchases are truly beneficial to you and plan ahead to savor them.
That was mine.
In a way, it's like needs
Well,
versus
and,
wants.
you know, you look at all the storage units, you know, we buy, Americans are consumers and stuff. We buy stuff and we hoard stuff and we got more junk, and everything's collectible.
Right.
Yeah.
Keyword collectible.
Yeah.
I keep telling my husband we
Collecting
got
junk.
so much
Collecting
stuff we can just get rid of.
Right, right.
It's like
And you know, make some goals, you know. Figure out what you really want, make a goal, and you know, plan and save for it. Yeah. That's what I like. And then now I have just some, you know, kind of coping strategies as far as stress itself is, you know, kind of just about dealing with stress, and I have these stress cards here for everybody. You know, these are just good habits for everybody as far as when you need to deal with stress and anxiety. But of course, you know, unplugging, you know, get away from your phone for a while. Connecting with others. We are social people. Most of us feel better when you connect with a friend, whether it's calling them on the phone, sitting down, visiting somebody. Take care of your body. You know, everybody talks about exercise, and guess what? It does so many wonders for you. It's so good for your mental health. Eat healthy and sleep. Healthy sleep is so good for your body and your mind. It's so important. And getting outside, if you can just get outside, if you can take that mental health walk, you know, even if it's just 10 minutes during lunch and just like walk around the block or whatever, you know, I'm very fortunate that I work in downtown Kent, so I I can like take a nice quick little walk. It's so walkable where I work, which is nice. And there's breathing exercises too, and those are in that stress card that I gave you. And I mean, they really work. Everything in that little stress card really does work, whether it's stretching or breathing. You just have to do them. I mean, they're free, it's free, but you do have to do them, and they do work. I've noticed that before I, like say, coming here today and thinking about this presentation and standing in front of people and talking, like, okay, I'm a little stressed out, so maybe I'll take some of these breaths, you know, inhale and hold it, and then exhale, and you do that a few times, whether it's before taking a test or if you know you have to go talk to your boss and you're a little nervous about it. You know, things like that can really help center you and get you in the right mind frame. One thing it's really important to realize is alcohol is not a good coping method. Alcohol actually can increase your symptoms of depression and anxiety, and it causes a lot more problems than it will solve. So many, you know, family problems, domestic violence, drinking can cause, actually weaken your immune system as well. And binge drinking and heavy alcohol is very problematic. In our county, we have a very high rate of binge drinking, and adult alcohol use is a problem here. So please, if you notice yourself or a loved one drinking more than a moderate amount of alcohol, that is something to be concerned about. And there's a lot of you know, places that you can get help. One thing that is sometimes, what is a reason why some people don't want to get help for mental health or addiction treatment?
Maybe they're embarrassed.
Yeah, they're embarrassed.
Or
They
too
don't
much
want to launch their drugs on someone else.
So yeah, when you're embarrassed or that kind of thing, that's called like stigma. So one thing we try to like get out there and talk a lot about mental health and how it's important to get help and that it's okay to get help. And one thing that's been kind of a good thing lately is a lot of athletes and famous people, you know, singers and etc. They have come out and talk about that they do get help for their depression and anxiety. And I think that's definitely, we've noticed that that's been helping, especially with the younger people. You know, we want people to be able to say like, yeah, I was late for school today, you know, because I had to see my counselor, just as easy as they can say I was late to school because I had an orthodontist appointment, you know. And, you know, we all can help with that, as talking about mental health. When you see somebody who may be struggling, you know, ask someone how they're doing. Are you okay? And, you know, really listen to them. And then if it seems like they might be struggling or something, let them know that there's different ways they can get help. And, you know, something that's really important for everybody to know is the new number 988. That's 24 hours a day. Anyone can call that with any kind of mental health concern, whether it's for yourself or for somebody else. And that's 24 hours a day, and it's 988. Super easy to remember. And then we also have our Portage County Helpline, which has always been around, and that's operated by Town Hall 2, 330-678-HELP. And I also put the United Way phone number up here also for 211, because when we're talking about financial stress and we're talking about finances and stuff, if you're just ever looking for resources in general, you know, the Portage County 211, they can also help find any kind of resources that you're looking for. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of resources out in that resource room that we have going on today. So that's about all I had.